Greetings, hot Satan lovers, and welcome to episode 4 of American Horror Story Apocalypse, where we take a deep dive into the episode and explore some of the mysteries and theories within. So fold your towels and clean your crock pots, ladies and gentlemen. We're in for one hell of a ride. The episode begins with Tatum, that's Satan plus Tate, recounting his childhood with Robot Mom. But in all actuality, this is his real mother who Mead is based off. They say a prayer to the Dark Lord before starting their meal and end it by saying Nima, which is Amen spelled backwards. Notice Langdon's hair here looks awfully like Tate's from season 1, also hinting that his real mother is somehow connected with Jessica Lange. She explains that she killed her first 3 husbands for the insurance policies, and it's just great to see a beautiful mother-son bonding moment over prayers to the Dark Lord and talk of murder. Behind her is a picture of Baphomet, I'm probably butchering that name, a symbol supposedly worshipped by the Knights Templar in the late 1300s, which was later adopted by the Satanist movement. In the 1800s, occultist Aleister Crowley referred to Baphomet as the divine androgen, an androgynous being composed of both male and female parts, which hints at Michael Langdon, who, if you remember when he's questioned by Venable in episode 2, hints that he might not actually be a man. We'll come back to this point in a bit. Back in real time, Langdon tells Mead that he needs someone to help rebuild this world, and Mead, for the first time, feels like she's found her place. She's come a long way in just a few minutes, but that's when Langdon senses the witches. We're back where we left off with Cordelia having risen Mallory, Dina, and Coco. They were under an identity spell which Cordelia put on them for their own protection, because they're special and she needs them for the upcoming war. Dina isn't having it, and Madison tells her, as if you could defeat anyone with that backwards voodoo shit, hinting that she is somehow related to Marie Laveau's voodoo witchcraft from season 3. Langdon confronts them and tells them they can't win before Myrtle reveals that he is a warlock. But is he? We'll get into that in a bit. We then flash back 3 years to Warlock Hogwarts. Kids chant Igneme Accende, Latin meaning to burn or ignite. A level 1 student arrives late and is chastised by Behold Chablis, one of the teachers at the school. We'll learn that there are 4 levels of Warlock, level 1 being the weakest. Chablis tells the student if he's late he'll wind up at the Magic Castle doing card tricks like Neil Patrick Harris. A nod to Neil's character in Season 4, Freak Show, where he plays a magician. They also chant Ex forma mutate, facti sunt figura nova, which is Latin for change form, become a new shape. Chablis tells them their power is woven into their DNA. Does that mean Timmy and Emily, who were told they have special DNA in episode 1, are also witch and warlock? They turn a bunch of perfectly good gems into an aluminum ball, making it the easiest aluminum ball challenge.
Look how big this thing is right now!
The scientist from Jurassic Park comes in and tells Chablis they've been summoned. Here we meet the 2 other teachers, John Henry Moore and the Grand Chancellor Ariel, who is coincidentally named after an archangel. The teachers watch a video of Langdon training the world's greatest contortionists while discussing his powers. Are his powers his own, or are they more demonic, as John Henry suggests? The warlocks, we learn, are not evil. In fact, they don't even want dark energy around them. Ariel suggests this boy could be the one the prophecy suggested, the one they've been looking for, the Alpha, the warlock's version of a supreme, a being so powerful he'd be able to pass the test of the 7 wonders, the same test Zoe, Madison, Misty, and Queenie undergo in the finale of Season 3. If his powers are real, he could supplant the Supreme. Ariel springs Langdon from jail and tells him he's a warlock. Langdon tells him he got in jail for defending his mother when we get this lovely flashback. Mrs. Satan wants a goat's head for incantations and accuses the butcher of discrimination for her religious beliefs. This also happened in real life when a group of Satanists attempted to put a statue of Baphomet next to the 10 Commandments, and when they were told to take it down, said it was religious discrimination. Langdon does his best Arthur meme and uses his telekinetic power to stab the guy with butcher knives, the irony of a butcher being butchered. Ariel tells Michael his life's about to begin and uses his warlock power to open the cell door. They're stopped by an officer, but Ariel uses his powers once again. He's innocent of all charges. I'm taking him with me. They escape, but Langdon kills the officer, hinting the malevolence within him. Mead is there somehow, knowing her boy will make her proud someday. Ariel explains that in 2014, Cordelia outed the magic users to the world. They became discriminated and had to move underground because locals threw Molotov cocktails into their school. Michael is welcome, but it looks like John Henry still has his doubts. 1 month in, Langdon is evaluated by the Warlocks. He is to be assigned his level, and we learn the teachers are all level 3. A level 4 would make them as powerful as the female Supreme, and there's never been a level 4 Warlock. The level 1 test involves scrying, the ability to see things on a reflective surface. He must find a book, The New Adam and Eve by Nathaniel Hawthorne, a story about how after the destruction of Earth, God created a new Adam and Eve to start over. He's tasked to find out where the book was hidden, but goes one step further and actually retrieves it from the mirror. The next task involves salire per spatium, Latin for jump through space. He is easily able to dodge the brick and knife and is found on the ceiling, just like the Rubber Man in episode 2. Finally, stericidium, or snowfall. Not only is he able to conjure snow, but something takes over him. The wind and cold becomes too unbearable for Baldwin, who can't breathe. Ariel stops him and is pleased. If he can learn to control these powers, there's no limit to how high he can soar. At dinner, the teachers talk about Langdon being the most powerful warlock they've ever seen. They're grooming him to take on the witches. Only John Henry is the one who has doubts. There's malevolence to his magic, leading me to believe he is not the Alpha nor a warlock. His powers stem from Satan himself. He's a false prophet. Also, if you can do this, sign me up for Warlock School. They then toast to the moment everything changes. We're back in the coven, bitches, and Zoe is now a teacher. Mallory is one of the students and turns the rose into blue butterflies. Zoe even says her bloodline goes all the way back to Salem, Salem being the location of the infamous witch trials of the late 1600s in which over 600 young women were accused of being witches, 19 of them executed by hanging. Myrtle informs Cordelia and Zoe that the Warlocks have called an emergency council meeting at the Hawthorne School for Exceptional Young Men, the same last name of the author of the book Langdon was tasked to retrieve in the scrying test. At the council meeting, Ariel explains that the boys' powers are so impressive they match those of the Supreme. The witches scoff, and Cordelia reminds him that in all of history no man has ever approached the level of Supreme. Men aren't equal to women when it comes to magical ability. Testosterone is a known inhibitor impeding access to the ethereal realm, once again hinting that Langdon is not male, or at least not fully. Ariel wants the witches to administer the test of the 7 wonders, but Cordelia won't do it because she'd be condemning this boy to his death. After all, she lost Misty by administering the test too early. And let's all say a big hello to Queenie, who's been trapped in the Hotel Cortez, the setting for Season 5. She's been in a never-ending card game with March, a serial killer and builder of the Cortez. Cordelia explains that the hotel wasn't haunted, rather it was a doorway to hell where the devil reigns. Her spells were useless in that hotel, hinting that when the witches fight the demonic forces, their spells won't work or will be severely weakened. Cordelia's efforts to save Queenie end in failure, and she considers it her worst failure as Supreme. As the Supreme in charge of caring for all people, meaning both the witches and warlocks, she denies giving the test to Langdon, fearing his safety. Ariel says she's just scared of the Alpha, the one to bring the end of female domination, a role reversal of what's going on in society today, the push for equality, the Me Too movement, and even Cordelia using the phrase, "time's up." But in this world, the females are dominant, and the men are the ones striving for equality. Langdon is possessed and draws the Hotel Cortez. Something is taking control of him, beckoning him there, and soon we see him come to the rescue of Queenie, to do what her Supreme couldn't. March seems to sense his power, probably because he knows what's controlling Michael. He immediately knows she won't be back, saying, "Solitaire it is." Able to get her out, Langdon says there's one person left to get. Madison works customer returns in her own eternal hell. She's undervalued, overworked, and worst of all, unrecognized. She's even cattle prodded by her boss, Randall. I even love the never-ending line of returns. Langdon comes to claim her soul and save her from this hell. Madison hoes it up, telling him he's a snack and how terrible that they're always out of stock of personal massagers before Queenie arrives to convince Madison to come. There's work to do, and he needs both of them. But what he really needs is to prove a point, that his abilities are extremely powerful. Langdon arrives with Madison and Queenie, and let me just say, for people who've just returned from the netherworld, they look fine as hell. Cordelia faints as the witches reunite, Langdon basking in the knowledge he was able to do what the others could not. So what can we expect from the next few episodes? We'll likely see 2 separate timelines. One, the past, learning how Langdon took over as Alpha and witnessing the birth of the Quad operative? And 2, the current timeline, the battle between the witches and Satan. Will Michael bring back Misty? And will John Henry Moore defect to the witches? We'll have to stay tuned for next episode. Hey everyone, I hope you liked this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like and subscribe. I'm planning on doing the whole season, so I hope you'll stick with me. I also have a new Twitter where you can find my video release schedule or just ask me questions. So give me a follow at ThinkStoryYT. And last but not least, Daddy loves you very much.